Hey everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity. And before I get into what this next episode or this episode is all about, let me explain what is painfully obvious here. Yes, I have a couple of scars and what looks like a black eye on my face made for radio. Consider this a public service announcement. I grew up in Arizona. I was out in the sun a lot. You see where this is going. But in my so called adult life, I was inside mostly. I had an office job that kept me mostly inside. Yeah, I was out in the sun, mowed the yard, enjoyed the swimming pool every once in a while, but was not what you would call an adult sunbun. But in the last couple of years, I noticed I kept getting this recurring scab on my nose. Nothing major. It wouldn't bleed. It would just appear, flake off, be gone a little bit, come back. And I went to a dermatologist for something else and just, they biopsied and took care of that. And then I just happened to mention, I said, hey, I got this thing coming back, probably nothing. And they biopsied it and said, it's something, you need to have Mohs surgery. And I went in a week ago, almost a week ago, and had the Mohs surgery thinking it'd be a one scrape and done. And if you're not familiar with it, they go in, they scrape, they test it. 45 minutes later, they come back and either tell you go home or we got to go in again. Well, I was this was a 3-time event that morning. I was in the chair for 5.5 hours. Why am I telling you this? Well, first of all, I'd hate for you to have something like this done if you don't have to. This is going to heal up. I will be fine. I'm not at all worried about this. And even if I do have any kind of scarring left from this, which they assure me it'd be all but gone, but if I do, I don't care because I got the cancer gone, and that's what matters is my health. So I encourage you to, if you have any spots, get them checked out. Don't wait. The dermatologists are wonderful people, and most of them have the latest in knowledge and technology. So please, 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 even if it seems insignificant, get those spots checked out. And it may be nothing. Hopefully it'll be nothing. But if it is something, you want to take care of it sooner rather than later. So there, that's my story, and you can stick to it, please. Now, this episode, we're talking with the great Kenny Wayne Shepherd. It's our third chat with him, and we're talking about the 30th anniversary of his Ledbetter Heights album that he re-recorded and is out on tour promoting. And so we talked about that album, we talked about this tour, we talked about music in general, had a fun, great chat, probably about 20 minutes, I think is how long it lasts. And so if you're a Kenny Wayne Shepherd fan, you'll definitely want to hear it. If you're a blues fan and never really got into him, and how you haven't, I can never understand, but there are some of you out there. Listen to this interview. I think you'll have a blast with it. Share it with your blues-loving friends or people that you know are Kenny Wayne Shepherd fans. I think they'll enjoy this interview too. And as always, I ask that you hit like and subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, it won't cost you anything. And do, like I asked a minute ago, please share this with your friends. So without any further ado, here is my third of what I hope are many more interviews to come with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity, and please get those spots checked out. Take care. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, man. Out on the road, rocking the house.
All right. You're in Lauderdale today, aren't you?
Yeah,
Uh, How's the tour going so far?
it's going very well. We're having a great time.
Good deal. I got to ask you, I missed any of the stops for your tour with Bobby Rush. I love Bobby Rush. I've interviewed him by phone a couple times. I just love that man. He is so cool. How was that tour for you guys?
It was great, man. I mean, seriously, we had such a great time playing with him every night and watching him kind of do his thing and showcasing him and his talent to, my fans who I could see a lot of them were experiencing Bobby Rush for the first time and literally watching that, from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, these people just fall in love with him. And, but that's a man he has crafted his talent, over the past 70 years, and
I
so
know.
just a
And
master.
only these last few years, he's finally being honored the way he should, man.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality of, especially kind of in the genres that a lot of people like they wait way too long to really give these people the props they deserve, but
Yeah.
I've always been trying to I've been trying to do my part to nudge that along, and to make sure that some of these people get the credit they deserve. And certainly while they're still here,
Yeah.
nothing could be more sad as, if you're honoring somebody after they're gone and they're not here to see themselves get honored. So it's good to
It
see it
happens
happen.
far too often. It really
Mm,
does.
yeah.
So, well, man, how much time we have? I want to be respectful of it and stay
Uh,
within those boundaries.
Well, let me see here. So what time is it now?
It's 1:42.
It says we have 20 minutes and there's another
Okay.
call after that.
All right, cool. Well, tell me about this 30-year anniversary of the Ledbetter Heights album, man. I've great album. Uh, what? Tell me what's going on with shedding the new light on it.
Yeah, so well, obviously it's a big anniversary for us. A few years back we did the 25th anniversary of my second album, Trouble Is, and we did a tour for that record and that went over really well with our fans. And between the first album, Ledbetter Heights, and the second album, Trouble Is, I think that's where a lot of people in the early days got introduced to me and my music.
Mhm.
And so those two albums are really incredibly significant because that's what helped us build the connection with our fan base that's now been with us for going on over 30 years. So when we came up on this 30th anniversary for Ledbetter Heights, I thought it would be cool to do a similar thing in recognition of this album because this is literally like my debut record. This is what broke me on the scene, got my name out there, and started this career for me. And so we went into the studio and we recorded a new version of Ledbetter Heights, which you have in your background there. So that's the 30th anniversary sessions where we went in and we recorded a brand new version of it. And the biggest difference being that on the first album, on the original first album, we had Corey Sterling singing for the band back then. And Noah joined my band on lead vocals for the second album, and he's been with me ever since. And gradually the band has evolved where I'm singing lead vocals too. So Noah and I share that the vocal responsibilities now. But Noah's been the primary lead vocalist in the band since the second record. And a lot of people over the years have often kind of wondered, what would Lebanon Heights have sounded like if Noah had been in the band back then? So now they get to hear that. Some of the songs, we didn't really try and reinvent a whole lot of stuff. Like one song, Riverside, is pretty different. I think it's better now than it originally was. But I'm really overall just very happy with the sound of the first record, especially considering I was 17 years old when I recorded that. So we didn't reinvent the wheel, but we did do some different things. There's some little changes to guitar solos and different endings and different instrumentation and stuff. So it is a new take on a 30-year-old record, but it's really significant for us. And so now we're out on the road and we're playing every song off the record on the tour for the first time ever. Never played every song off this record. And we even haven't played like some of these songs for the better part of the last 29 years. So even our fans who have come and seen us over and over and over again, there's some of these songs they may have never seen us perform before. So they're getting to
Wow.
see a lot of cool stuff on this tour.
What surprises you most about the lasting impact of this record, the original version of this record, 30
Well,
years later?
it's not really, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but like I mean it was I mean I remember when we finished the record and handed it over to the record label and then I remember going, "Oh my gosh, like what's going to happen next? Like what if nobody cares, you know?" Because it's just as likely, probably more likely that you're not successful. You know what I mean, than being successful. So but we were successful and the people did react to it. And so, after that initial like surprise of like, wow, this is great. Like people love this record. And, we sold 500,000 copies. The record went gold, then it went platinum, you know. But looking back on it, like my intention from day one was to like I wanted to write and record timeless music. I wanted to make music that people I was not following a trend that was going to be out of style in 5 or 10 years. I was hopefully writing and recording music that people could enjoy for decades and decades to come. And here we are 30 years later, and these songs still hold up. I mean, these songs
Hmm.
still sound relevant today. And so to me, that's like very satisfying because my 17-year-old self had a goal to do that. And I feel like I accomplished that.
Do you re-recording that record and comparing it to the original version of the record? How much of an impact did new recording technologies have on this versus way back then, 30 years? I mean, for guys like us, I guess, it almost seems like yesterday, but what kind of an impact on this album has the technology had over and
Well,
above the first one?
a lot has happened in 30 years in the music industry. So
Mm-hmm.
when we made the first album, Ledbetter Heights, there was no Pro Tools. Like
Right.
it didn't even exist back then. So that whole record was done 100% analog on tape. By the time we did the second album, Trouble Is, the first version of Pro Tools had just come out, and people were starting to use computers to record music in studios. And that's kind of the industry standard now, is like everybody works with Pro Tools, and very few people still work with tape in the studio. So, I mean, that's just one example of what's changed. I mean, that's for as far as recording goes. I mean, it Pro Tools is great because it makes your editing so much faster. You can do unlimited amounts of like overdubs where like you don't like what you did, so you do it again. And you can, with tape, if you kept overdubbing and going back and re-singing your part or replaying your part, at a certain point, you've degraded the tape.
The
You've
tape.
kind of
Yeah.
worn it out, and then the audio quality starts to suffer as a result of that. Well, in the computer, in the digital age, it's like, you can do a million takes of the same thing and it's never going to degrade the sound of it. So there's pluses and minuses, but I've been a part of the evolution of recording and going from the analog era to the digital era and everything that's come in between, with how people consume music and, going from like actually buying records to streaming records and things like that. So a lot has changed in 30 years, which 30 years doesn't seem like it doesn't, in the overall scheme of things, isn't a huge amount of time, but there's been a massive amount of change.
Yeah. I know for old guys like me, I used to think when I was young, 20 years, if somebody could remember 20 years ago, they were old. And now,
Hmm.
I, you know, I, I'm into my fourth session of 20-year blocks here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
66 and counting. So
Yeah.
30 years now doesn't seem like much, but gosh, it does fly. What's been the crowd feedback so far on when you're performing this live?
It's been great. I mean, across the board, like the fans have been responding really well to the show. I think, for all of us, for the people that were around when this record was new, as we have all kind of gotten older together, there's something to be said for like nostalgia, and this kind of
Hmm.
listening to this record and these songs kind of brings people back to a different time, Like I said, when people actually, you would hear a song on the radio and you would go, "Who is that?" And you'd call the radio station DJ and ask him, or you would go to the local record store and you'd be like, "I heard this song and I think it's called this, and who's the artist?" And then they point you to the album, and you go buy the whole record because that's what that's what you had to do if you wanted to have that
Yep.
song. You buy the whole record, you take it home, and you'd open it up and you're flipping through the book, you put the record on and you listen to the whole album, and at least once. But like if you really dug the artist, you would listen to that whole record over and over and over
Wear it
again.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, it's like it kind of harkens back to this to a different day and a different place. And people, I think we all kind of dig that to a degree. And so playing these songs, a lot of the fans have come up to me and said, this is just incredible. Some people say it's the best show that they've seen us do. So all the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and so we're enjoying it. Plus, it's fun for us because, like I said, a lot of these songs we really haven't played in a really long time, and so they feel fresh, all over again.
I can imagine. Hey, it makes it fun and interesting for you, keeping things neat and exploratory for you.
Yeah.
Does I You're going to be coming in my neck of the woods in Knoxville area in October, and so I'm assuming that those dates will be much. It'd be you're pursuing the same kind of set list and that kind of thing during that time, are you not?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This tour is we're carrying us through the end of this year, and actually
Okay.
it's doing so well. The response has been so great that the our booking agents are actually suggesting that we carry it into the first quarter of next year as well. So, yeah, we'll definitely be doing this. And so here's the thing, like the show, we play every song from the Ledbetter Heights album, but we don't stop there. Like then we also have a whole nother set of music, various songs from different records that we've put out over the past 30 years as well. So it ends up being when it's just us and it's an evening with the Kenny Wayne Shepherd band, it's the show's like over a little over 2 hours long. So it's plenty of music. It's a great experience, and like I said, we're all having a great time doing it.
You alluded to something there I was going to ask you about. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw where you're doing some dates with Jimmy Vaughn. Are you not?
Yeah, Jimmy, I think we finished all the ones that he's on.
Okay.
Tonight we have Eric Johnson with us, who's another
Ah,
amazing
yeah.
Texas guitarist. But a lot of the shows, the majority of the shows are an evening with the Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band. Because like I
Good
said,
deal.
the show generally runs 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And so that's a pretty hefty amount of time. And if you put an opening act on and they play 45 minutes or an hour, now you're getting into like that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. B-
It's our age go into comas at that point. So it's
so putting this album together is probably a bit different because you're actually re-recording it, but you knew what to expect. You knew
Yeah.
what your outcomes were wanting to be, all that kind of thing. So I would imagine this probably went pretty quick for you compared to doing a bunch of new material. Is that
Yeah, that's
correct?
safe to say for sure. I mean, that cover albums, like whether we're covering our own music or if we're covering other people's music generally seem to go a bit faster because you have a roadmap. The
Right.
music, you have a blueprint in front of you. And so when we're doing completely new songs in the studio, then we're kind of starting from scratch, and we're creating something from almost nothing. And so you got to figure out what the parts are. What's the right bass line? What's the right guitar part? What's the right drum pattern? And so that all takes, a lot of the time it takes more time to do that for sure.
Gotcha. So what's next record wise? I know it's a little soon to be asking that since this one hasn't been fully released yet, but what are you already working on some new stuff that will follow this?
Yeah, so actually, I was just in the studio with Bobby Rush again last month,
Wow.
and so Bobby came in to my studio down in Tennessee, and we cut like 16 songs in like 3 days, and it was great.
Wow.
And so we got to finish that up. I'm not sure exactly when that's coming out. The Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band. I'm putting the finishing touches on a cover album that we started a few years ago. It's like I've had a lot of stuff kind of in the works. And so you will start something and I'll get like, the core of it recorded and then, it might sit for a while and I have to come back to it to finish it up. So we started this cover album a couple of years ago and then I just got around to finishing it. But it's really cool. It's basically several years ago we did a blues cover album where it was like all traditional blues songs. And now I decided, well, we're also known for rock and roll, like we're a blues rock kind of band. So I just decided to do a rock and roll cover album. And the goal was to pick songs that they're all songs that I grew up listening to. But like if you saw the list, I want people to like to go, what? Like they're playing what? Like I don't know the final track listing yet because it's not all finished and I have to choose the songs that will make it. But you know, we did a Genesis song. We did a song by NXS. We did Billy Idol. You know what I mean? Some are a little maybe a little more obvious, like The Who, and we did a Pink Floyd song and stuff. Maybe that's a little less surprising, but I wanted a lot of it to be like, and then you listen to it and you're like, oh my gosh, it sounds great, you know? So that'll be fun. That'll come out sometime next year, for
Cool.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to make sure we talk when that gets close to that dropping or any of your records. You said something that piqued my interest. I should know the answer to this, but I don't. I live in Tennessee. I'm up in the Smokies. Where in Tennessee is your studio? Is it in Memphis?
No, I'm south of Nashville. So just south
Oh,
of
okay.
Nashville. Yeah.
All right, good deal. I love
Yeah.
going to Nashville. It's a lot of fun. But
Yeah, for sure. It's a great
well,
place.
well, let's make sure we circle back when it gets close to these other records coming out. I always love talking to you, man. You're always fun to chat with, and I look forward to catching you in Knoxville in October, and if not before then. But in the meantime, you keep yourself healthy and safe, and we look forward to hearing a lot more from you, my friend.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care, Kenny.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been another fun-filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song for Boomerocity is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quentin Hope. Quentin is spelled Quinten, and Hope is Hop as in Paul, E. And you can find out more about Quentin Hope and his music at quintenhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and or its assignees. Inquiries should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2026.